The Bible isn't just full of spiritual wisdom, but it's also packed with practical lessons. In Exodus 18, we see a conversation between Moses and his father-in-law Jethro. And this conversation revealed timeless business and leadership principles that still applies today. Let's break this down. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Viviane. So this is a place where we heal, this is a place where we grow, and this is a place where we build kingdom confidence. So today I want us to look at Exodus 18. I read Exodus 18 early this year, and when I read this particular part of Exodus, I knew I was doing something wrong in my business. So I had to step back and then kind of study this very verse. And I want to share with you today what God revealed to me in terms of business and leadership principle out of Exodus 18, 14 to 26. So let's get right into it. So I'm going to read Exodus 18, verse 14 to 26. And I'm going to read it on the NLT version. And I want to encourage you to take some time in your own to go and really read this and study and meditate on it, because there is a lot of principle, a lot of lesson to extrapolate from this very verse. But as I'm reading, I will point out the 3 different lessons that God showed me when I read this early this year. When it comes to business, this can apply not only in business but in your personal life. In anything that you do, this lesson applies. Okay, so let's go ahead and start reading. So Exodus 18, verse 14 to 26. And again, I'm doing LT version. So I'm in verse 14. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he asks, "What are you really accomplishing here? Why are you trying to do all this alone while everyone stands around you from morning to evening?" Moses replied, "Because the people come to me to get a ruling from God." Verse 16, when a dispute arises, come to me, and I am the one who settles the case between the quarreling party. I inform the people of God's decree and give them his instruction. 17, this is not good, Moses' father-in-law exclaimed. You are going to wear yourself out, and the people too. This job is too heavy a burden for you to handle all by yourself. Now listen to me and let me give you a word of advice, and may God be with you. You should continue to be the people's representative before God, bringing their dispute to him. Teach them God's decree and give them his instruction. Show them how to conduct their life, but select from all the people some capable, honest men who fear God and hate bribes. Appoint them as leader of a group of 1,110. 22. Should always be available to solve the people's common dispute, but have them bring the major cases to you. Let the leader decide the smaller matters themselves. They will help you carry the load, making the task easier for you. If you follow this advice, and if God commands you to do so, then you will be able to endure the pressures, and all these people will go home in peace. 24. Moses listened to his father-in-law advice and followed his suggestion. He chose capable men from all over Israel and appointed them as leader over the people. He put them in charge of groups of 1,150 and 10. These men were always available to solve the people's common disputes. They brought the major cases to Moses, but they took care of smaller matters themselves. So here's the lesson here. In Exodus 18 and 19, Jethro said to Moses, you must be people's representative before God. When it comes to business, so as a CEO, as a leader, you're not supposed to be involved in the day-to-day activity or the day-to-day operation. But you're supposed to stand between the team and the vision. You are the one that carries the vision. You are the one that plans for the business to grow. You are the one that puts 1 or 2 things together to make sure that the business continue to grow and grow. So in this case, Moses was not supposed to solve everyone's dispute. He was basically literally sitting in one place from morning to night, solving everyone's dispute, and he was not using the potential that God has placed in him. Moses was a mediator between God and the people. So his job was to get the vision from God, to get the commandment from God, and then come down, go to the mountain and spend the time with God, and then come down and relay that message to the people. So we see here that as a leader in business, in life, your job is to stand outside of the business and then kind of have a big picture of what's going on. Then from that point, you can see if the vision is being followed, if everybody is doing what they're supposed to do. I hope that makes sense. The second lesson out of this verse is in verse 20. And then he went on to say, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, said, teach them the decree and laws and show them the way to live. Again, so Moses' job was not to sit down and solve everyone. His job was get the vision from God and teach it to the people. Okay, show them the vision, teach them the way of God, the decree, the laws. So to make sure that they practice exactly what God wants them to practice. So when it comes to business, you as a CEO, as a manager, as a leader, you have to get the vision, and then you have to share the vision with your team, share the vision with the employee, and then make sure that everyone is on the same page. Especially in a company, if people are not on the same page, everyone will be doing a lot of different things. And what are we trying to accomplish this year, next year, the next 5 years? Teach them your vision, the vision that you have for the company, the income, the team, the growth plan. You have to teach that to your team so they are able to run with it. They're not supposed to keep the vision for themselves, but they are supposed to equip others. A leader knows when to delegate. Okay, on verses 21, Jethro noticed that Moses was doing everything himself and he was wearing himself out. So he gave this advice: select capable men who fear God, who are trustworthy, and appoint them as officials. So as a leader in your business, stop trying to do everything yourself. I wish I knew this when I opened my business. I mean, I've had this business for 5 years. And for a good 4 years, I was running everything myself. And eventually, I burnt out. And I wish I knew this before I started my business. Then I would know, that I need to delegate certain tasks. I mean, at the beginning, when you're just starting, I mean, you as a business owner, you wear all the hat, but as you grow and start making money, then you have to learn to delegate certain tasks to people. So in this case, in this verse, Moses was losing the time that he was supposed to spend with God. He was basically spending his whole day solving people's issue. But when in reality, he's supposed to spend that time with God and get God's mind, get the instruction from God. So it was not a good use of his time. It was not a good use of his potential. So as a final thought, Exodus 18 is just not an ancient history. It's basically a blueprint for sustainable and value-driven leadership and business. So if you're building a business, you're building a ministry, you're building a team. So just remember this: that stay connected to your purpose, stay connected to the vision, stay connected to the source. Teach and live your value, and don't do it alone. Raise people, equip people who will help you in the process to get your vision to pass. So I hope this was insightful for you. I hope this helped you in any way. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye-bye.